All right, here are the results from his 5 full seasons. Look at those numbers, pretty good, but also some first-round losses, second-round losses. We know what happened against the Blues in 2019, losing the Stanley Cup final in 7 games, losing Game 7 at home. Let's bring in Fluto Shinzawa of The Athletic. And Fluto, what do you know about the logic? What's the rationale the Bruins had in making this move?
Well, Michael, if you listen to what Cam and Don had said previously, it was about 2 things. First of all, they really wanted to find a coach with better tactics in terms of producing 5-on-5 offense. But I think the most pressing issue for management, for Don and Cam, was the fact that there were certainly stylistic issues with Bruce, especially with his younger players. And boy, does this signal that it's going to be more younger players coming in, right? Because why would Patrice Bergeron come back at this point with some of this turnover taking place, with some of his best teammates being injured to start the year? You're going to have to start incorporating more young players who can accommodate or be with a coach who is more accommodating to their mistakes. That's pretty much the reason why Bruce was let go.
So, Fluto, you reading the tea leaves right now, you think Bergeron's not coming back?
No, I never thought he was, Mike. And at this point, why would he? Patrice, to me, he strikes me as a person who takes a whole lot of pride in being at the top of his game. He thinks about legacy. He just won his 5th Selke. He ends with 400 goals, the only Bruin to score 400 with that organization. His health is good. Why would he come back?
Okay, so let me just jump in again. So back to a coach that's nicer to the young players. So does the organization think that somehow Jake DeBrusk, for example, was mistreated by Bruce Cassidy and somehow got a bum deal, and so they're, I don't know, for lack of a better term, siding with Jake DeBrusk versus Bruce Cassidy?
That's part of it, Mike. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. Well, Jake made his trade request public, right? I wouldn't be surprised if there are other players. I don't know if they felt that strongly to that degree where they wanted out, but I bet there are players who just didn't appreciate the way that they were being treated, being benched, being healthy scratched, being in the room. I'm sure Bruce was critical to them at times, and I think that some of the older players also had their backs too in terms of, hey, well, why don't you lay off some of these guys? So, yes, the young players absolutely had a big part in this decision.
Fluto, from what you observed, do you think, A, that Cassidy saw this coming, and, B, over the course of 5+ years, he kind of tweaked his style or adjusted his style to accommodate some of his critics in the room?
No, I don't think he accommodated, Michael. I think he's stuck firm to what he believed. In terms of, he believed that there were NHL principles that every player, especially these young players, had to abide by in terms of positioning, defensive awareness, where your stick has to be, all these habits that the Bergerons and the Marchands and the Charas and the Krejcis, that was all second nature to them. But for these young players, they had to be drilled into these habits until they became familiar with it. So did he see it coming? I don't think so. I think he knows that he's a good coach. The results were there. Playoffs every single season. Stanley Cup final against St. Louis. I don't think he believed it was going to get to this degree.
Okay, Fluto, and I'm not yelling at you. It's going to sound like it because I think it's pretty ridiculous for Don Sweeney and Cam Neely to complain about how Bruce Cassidy is treating young players who suck. So what? So I'm sorry. I'm not sure Trent Frederick, he's not a top 6 NHL forward. They drafted him in the 1st round. Jake DeBrusk, I think, is soft, entitled. I don't think he's a special player. And, oh, by the way, he played with David Krejci for the balance of his career, and for most of this year was on the first freaking line. So what is Jake DeBrusk, who's not really that good, still complaining about? Are they upset with the way Bruce Cassidy has treated who? I don't know, Vakanainen or Jack Studnicka? What does Jack Studnicka deserve that Bruce Cassidy isn't giving him? Again, Fluto, I'm not yelling at you, but, what do you think?
Go down the list, Mike. I absolutely agree. Studnicka, Frederick, Vakanainen, Zaboral, Jeremy Lauzon, Oscar Steen. Are these NHL players? Are they regular? Are they even regular NHL players? Not at this point. Are they going to become impact NHL players? Probably not. This is the risk. And they knew it, right? They knew the risk of trading all these first-round picks for Rick Nash, for Andre Kasha. They don't have one coming up in July because of the Hampus Lindholm trade. You give away so many kicks at the can, and then it's hard. It's really hard to get good NHL players, second, third, fourth round. So, yeah, you can talk about young players coming in. They don't have that many good ones coming in.
All right, Fluto, your best guess. The next head coach of the Boston Bruins is?
Jay Leach. Jay was Province's head coach for 3 seasons. He was Seattle's assistant for 1, 42 years old, very familiar with the Bruins, played 2 games for the Bruins, positive, energetic, enthusiastic, growth mindset, all these qualities that the Bruins are looking for. I think Jay Leach is the guy.
Fluto Shinzawa, great stuff. Check him out in The Athletic. We appreciate it.